So as I mentioned before in the last video, I actually wanted to separate the special locations video from the info, the guide part for the Falcos, purely because it just makes the video way too long. So this way, if you want to see the maps, they'll be in one video, this one, or if you want to go look at the guide, it's in the previous video. So in the next slides, I'll show you some special spots on each map where you can ruin the enemy team's day with Falcos. Blue is defense team and red is attacking team. Notes will be whatever color shows up the best on the map, possibly green. Now, first up is Allenberg. This map, fun. Granted, I'm going to say that about just about every map. I love this game. So, first thing, when attacking this map, your option here is on the left side, you can actually hit on top of the wall with Falcos. And that way you can hit B point, or if you're rushing, your team is rushing the walls, you can hit that. The other option is once you've gotten into the city on the supply point, you can aim at the top of the wall and hit onto home. Now, it's not amazingly accurate. Only about half the shots make it over the wall, and you wind up hitting the back alley most of the time, which is good, but you're generally better off at that point bringing them up to one of the gates and pushing in with your team, and then just shotgun people in the face with the Falcos. Much more effective. Now when defending, what you want to do at the beginning is set your Falcos on that back wall. What I like to do is close the gate off to the tab right, just so if somebody comes in, you'll generally know because they'll break the gate. And most of your team won't need to go through that gate at the beginning. So it's not a huge deal. And you can shoot either A or B from up on top of that wall. Now, you do want to watch out. You are pretty exposed. I've had plenty of times where enemy heroes will sneak into the base on the far tab right, or that when they're pushing B, they'll just run in and they'll manage to get my Falcos. I try my best to watch out for that, and if I see even a hint of someone running in, I'll send my guys cleared to the back and send them into the spawn point where they're invincible. So that way if someone does come back, which I've had before, and I do have a video showing that, they just can't do anything. They're invincible. So that's that option. Now, if you do get pushed back to home, you can just set your Falcos in the back, close to the respawn point, and just have them fire on home. That way, if somebody does try and jump up and dive them through your enemies, you'll normally have time to send them back into the spawn point for invincibility. So, that's how I generally play them on this map. Normally, they don't leave home base. Next up is Algolia. So, let's get rolling here. This map, unfortunately, I don't recommend Falcos for it. It's one of the few places I'll tell you not to bring Falcos when attacking, just because Sifs or Pavis would be a better option, just due to the way the map is laid out. Attackers just don't benefit from Falcos when attack. It's kind of shit. Defenders, on the other hand, absolutely amazing. There's quite a few options. Right at the start, you can spawn at the northern supply point, and you can drop Falcos and you can drop those two towers over there. Or you can put them up on the back wall, and you can shoot those two towers that are on the southern point in front of B. So, right at the start, some really good options. Now, things get even more fun. Now, let's say you give up A, and the enemy team musters to try and do a heavy push through that gate across the bridge there. Stupid idea already. That team is already trying to lose the game. But you can put Falcos on the back, just on the inside of that inner gate. And then right as they're getting ready to break that gate, you can have one of your teammates open it as you're aiming your falcos down that gate, down that fucking hallway. And it's wonderful. I've done it a few times. Oh my god. It feels like you're in the tunnel of Regionopolis. It's just a shooting gallery for your falcos. You can kill so much so fast if you do it right. You just set up your falcos facing down the two doors and you aim, and right when you click to shoot, your buddy should already be halfway done opening the gate. So right when your guys plant and get ready to shoot, the gate opens and you just smack them in the face. It's so awesome and it feels so good. You can technically do it with your own hero, but it's better to have someone helping you just so you have a second unit in there, because you're not going to kill everything. You're going to do amazing damage, but you want to have somebody with like a stalwart palace guard 40 unit, maybe iron reapers, to charge in at the same time, because the second you fire, you are going to level everything they have there. Doesn't matter what they have, it gets knocked on its ass. And if you have something to trample over it, like I even had one guy, he ran in there with condos. 130 kills with condos. Yes, they died, but oh my god, did he trample so much that I had knocked down. It felt so good. I mean, I myself racked up, I think it was like 80 kills from that. It was awesome. It felt good. Just those numbers are scary and fun. Now, the final spot for defending team is from the back supply point in the back of home. There's a path that leads north, and it's a cut-off section. There's no way to get to it except from that supply point. So if somebody wants to get to your falcos, they literally have to run past your entire team that's coming from that supply point constantly, which is basically impossible. And you just set your falcos on that little veranda area, I guess we could call it, a little open area, and you can fire on home point. Obviously, you have to go back to resupply, but that's it. Your falcos are pretty much safe there, unless someone somehow gets back there. And with DBs being so easy to see while they're invisible, I don't see them making it through. There's no way. Unless you have a brain dead team, which, that's a possibility. Well, moving on here. Border Fort. This is another cool one. You can do some interesting stuff. So I'm going to start with the attacking team, because this is my, I'd say like fourth favorite thing to do with Falcos in the game. Fourth, fifth, somewhere in there. It's definitely the top 5. But right at the start, once you've got the towers pushed and your team is pushing both left and right side, and you have a little bit of cav presence trying to go through the main gate, if you have all 3 of those things, this spot shines the best, because it leaves the enemy team no way to get your falcos. Because if you have cav running in and out, no defending team player is in their right mind is going to jump off that wall or try and go through the gate to try and get to your falcos, because they're going to get run down. They're going to waste their troops, waste their time, hamper their team, as they aren't getting to it. Or if they try and push from one of the sides, if your team is already pushing, I mean, just aim your falcos at the pushing team. Because what you're already trying to do with your falcos when you get them up on the tower is break their kill boxes. So if they want to be nice enough to bring their enemy troops on either side, regardless of which tower you're on, just aim at them. Level their whole push. Your team will trample them, and you'll have A. I've seen it happen so many times. I mean, blueberries are good for chaos, and chaos is what you need on this map for falcos to shine. So, feels good. Now, the other option, once you've gotten in, it's really the only other option and you can do when attacking with falcos, is point them like halfway to the home point and just bombard it. That's really it. After A, Falcos are not the most useful thing. I like to take them in behind the shields and 40s and stuff that push in, and I'll fire off to the right, where you see the defending circle would normally shoot from. You can just shoot that instead as well. Now, obviously, if they have Falcos already shooting, don't do it. If a Falco unit is already shooting, it's near impossible to get your Falco unit in there to fire back at them. Because it's so slow to plant and shoot, you're going to lose half your unit to that other Falco unit. So, now when attacking, like I mentioned, you have that spot to stop the final home push. The other option is from home point, you can actually bombard them if they're mustering from the spawn point over there. It irritates people a lot. I get people that'll turn and run over there and see if they can get to my Falcos, and I'll sometimes make a campfire or just dance in front of them because they can't get back there. At the final defender's point on the supply point, you can use that to shoot the siege tower or A point, or you can use it to shoot that left side when they're trying to push it. And that would really be it for this map. It's a fun one. I know I got a little excited talking about the A1. I've had some really epic moments with Falcos and the enemy team trying to press just to kill my Falcos. Oh boy, I've seen people give up the game right there. I've easily seen them go from winning, having like a 50 to 100 unit lead, to being 200 to 300 units behind us because they wanted to kill my Falcos. And I know they're pushing to try and kill my Falcos, because otherwise they would sit there and defend. But my Falcos are killing their kill box. 'Tis the power of the mighty Falcos. Well, moving on, Conqueror City. Here's a fun one as well. So, when defending, I'm going to start with defenders. You can start in a few separate spots and shoot all over the place. Basically, being up on top at the very beginning gives you free reign to hit anything down there. Wherever you point and click is where your Falcos will bombard, and it's beautiful. You can just hit everything. Now, when defending home, there's a couple of places. Now, obviously, everybody knows about right up on the very top in that open area next to the supply point. You can hit basically everything down there. It's a good spot. But the best spot I've seen, just effectiveness-wise and numbers, is right at the very top of that big staircase before it turns, or as it's getting ready to turn up to the supply point. You set them there facing the main gate and just let them go loose. They'll shower home point and the gate, and you can slow down or stop really any push onto home. As long as your team has a presence and you're already shooting, there shouldn't be really anything the enemy can do to push home. With any sort of minor organization from your team, you can win. Now, when attacking, you have a couple of options. The one on the far right, aiming at the top of the wall on that supply point, doesn't work super well, but it's an option. It does somewhat work. I usually don't use it, though. The most effective is to hold your Falcos until your team is pushed into B or X, because this is the TW map version. But once you've capped that and capped that far tab right supply point, you can place your Falcos on that supply point facing the middle supply point that's normally above home. And you can shoot right into the doorway and break the kill box that would normally be holding that, so your team can push into that supply point, take it. And what I like to do is I'll swap units, run over with the units I swapped to, and then swap back to Falcos. And then on either side of that supply point that you just captured, right above home, you can shoot up into the stairwell and you can kill all the archers and stuff people have planted there. Next up, we got Dasuo Fort. This map is interesting. There's a couple of spots here. Now, when defending, you can use your falcos at the beginning. When attacking, don't bother bringing them out. It's just, there's nowhere really to put them. You can have them attack A, but you're so exposed and it's so easy for them to get killed, I don't necessarily recommend it. But something you can try and do if you're feeling ballsy. But be prepared to probably lose your falcos. Now, when defending, you have two spots that are very effective, and you can hit all around A between those two spots. On the staircase off to the right that's just above B, you can be on that staircase and fire over to both of the towers over off to the right of A. And then same with the left side, you put them up on top of that platform above the supply point. And on this map, the supply point's slightly off. It should be more over to the left. But these maps, unfortunately, are sometimes not super accurate. But you fire from there straight across, and you can hit the tower there, or you can hit off to either side of A. So you have those options. Now for the attacking team, the option you have is either being on the left. There's a little spot, once you've gotten in, captured the points, and you're pushing home, on the left, you can set your guys right in front of that little cottage, that little house there, and you can hit the left side. Like sometimes they'll put ranged right next to that wall next to home, and they're guarded from trebs, but not from you, because falcos are dirty, and I love it. Now, the other option is putting them on the right side, up on top of that hill where everybody puts them, and you can bombard the home point. It's cool, but you miss a lot of vital spots. The whole point of falcos is to be able to break the primary defense line. Heavy shield units, the backline archers. The falco unit is there to ruin their fucking day. Get good. Now, when defending home point, your option is sitting on the supply point in the back of home, and you can fire on home point, or you can sit in the spawn point and fire in that back alleyway. I wouldn't put your falcos outside of those 2 points when on home, because that area is constantly being trebbed, and there's constantly cav and archers and everything else going all over the place. If you've played this map, you know you just don't leave those 2 spots. I prefer the spawn point because you're invincible, but it's extremely hard to get into that supply point as well because your team's constantly running in and out of it, and it's one narrow doorway. If you do see someone try to run through, you can preemptively aim at the door, and your falcos will just blast someone in the face when they try and go through, which is pretty funny in its own right. But yeah, it's better for them to be invincible. Alright, so next up is Frontier Camp. This one's a pretty basic map. Unfortunately, it's not amazing for falcos, but because the walls are so low and the way it's laid out, both attacking and defending teams can just bombard the whole place with almost no reservation. So each of the supply points, you can just set your falcos down and go nuts. And then same with defending team, you can be on either side of the back line of the base. Fairly difficult to get to you, and you can bombard almost everything. So falcos are good and bad on this map. It's good because you can hit everywhere, bad because it's open. A cav unit can easily weave around those areas and just wipe you out. Yeah. It's good and bad. I usually don't bring falcos on this map, though. It's just, unless I got a team with me, just not as effective, and it's way more dangerous. This map is also the outside of Conqueror City. Now, there's a few options when attacking and defending. So defending team at the start, it's not the greatest. Sit on supply point, you can hammer X or A point, or you can put your falcos in that area as long as you kill the catapult that starts out in the back in normal sieges. Now, for attacking, you got a couple of options. You can go on either side of the towers and bombard into A, or on right side, you can actually set them at the bottom of that tower and shoot all the way the distance of the wall there, as I'm showing on the right side, and you can hit into A point. Fairly effective, but I prefer the tab left side just because it's way more effective and you're closer and you can do a bit more damage because you're a bit more accurate. Your shots aren't scattering to the point where they're hitting walls and stuff and doing nothing. Now, when you get to home, when attacking, my favorite spot is far tab left. On top of the tower, you set your falcos there and you can hit the entire defending team's backline from the supply point to home. Nothing is safe because your shots go up and then down. So even if they're behind something, you just smash them. And oh boy, does it cause chaos. The best way to do it is as your team is getting ready to push, you put in chat, push, 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 go, go, go. And your whole team starts pushing as you're starting the bombard on the back line. So you have the defending team that has to make a decision. Do they give up the back line to try and save home? Or do they send a couple of guys, risk the home point, but save the back line from your falcos? Because in that situation, you don't necessarily want units defending the falcos because they are just so far away. They literally have to run all the way back, basically to A. There's a little staircase they can take up and then run all the way down the wall. By the time they see you run there and get up to your falcos are probably out of ammo. So, worst case scenario, you only get one full amount of ammo in your falcos, and then that's it. And at that point, most heroes are just going to be on their horse. So unless you're playing short bow or something, which isn't going to be able to stop, there's really no hero in the game that can stop another hero from killing all of their falcos. Short sword doesn't do enough damage. Short bow can stop your horse, but can't stop you for long enough. Maul can't grab someone off their horse. Neither can poleaxe. DB might actually be the best option. They can actually stop you on your horse, but you're so squishy it's easy to kill you. So they could just murder you and then go kill all your falcos. So unless you have someone guarding you, which you don't want to because that's a waste of troops in this spot, your falcos are all dead. Now, the other two options on the right side is where most people put their falcos, either up on the hill firing on home or in the back of all the archers. Typical spots, everybody uses them, it's whatever. Now, when defending, your two options is sitting on the supply point, and you can fire over the tower onto home, or you can set them up at the top of that hill and fire onto home. Obviously, you can put them in between. You're just at higher risk of being hit. I'd say supply point, because when I'm defending and I have falcos, I leave them on supply point and just let them bombard home infinitely. Normally, I don't have to worry about them. They can be trebbed, but it's so difficult to get the aim right back there that most people won't be able to. And if they do die, I normally have other units waiting anyways, because I've most likely used falcos the entire game at that point. So, next is Great Wall. This map has a few good spots as well. Now, when attacking, do not use your falcos at the beginning. Attacking or defending, really. When defending, save them for everywhere except A. When attacking, try to save them for home, but they are also fairly effective at B point, at Bravo. So depends on what you want to do with them. I save them for home, or while we're capping B and C, I'll be using them to destroy the breach on home. So that way, right when we get there, everybody can just start laying trebs right into their home point. Makes capping home here way easier, even if the enemy team has Falcos sitting in the back. Which brings me to the defending team. Like I mentioned earlier, don't start with them. Save them for when you lose A. Once you lose A, then pull them out and set them in the back area. You can bombard both B and C, and you can also hit home quite a bit. Now, my favorite spot is once you've been pushed to home and the castle has taken maximum damage, a little crevice, a little triangle opens up that lines up perfectly with the main gate to home and supply point. So you can literally set your guys on supply point and shoot down the hill through that main door. And oh boy, is it fun. Because everybody thinks they're safe down there. Because normally you shoot through the back gate into the front gate and everything just kind of stops there off to the side. But when you fire down that hill where everybody's troops are, you're just mowing down everything. I've gotten so many kills from it. And I've gotten plenty of angry messages. People don't like me. But yeah, I did take the time, just because it irritated me a little bit, to move the supply point. As you can see, that green spot in the center. So that's what that is. I cut out and moved it in paint. I did all of this in paint. I was fairly lazy about it. I just wanted to show the spots. That was my main objective, and paint covered everything I needed it to. So for Green Peaks Camp, this map is pretty basic as well. When attacking, just from the front of the base, you can hit everywhere, and then when you get inside the side supply point on the top of the map there, the northern part, you can hit home point from there. And then when defending, it's the same deal, just sit in the back and bombard everywhere. Alright, for the next map, Harbor City. This one, pretty basic too. Not too much to it. When attacking, the only secret spot that people don't know about is you can get up next to A point and you can shoot supply point in relative safety. So there's that option when attacking. Otherwise, you want to bring them in behind your team and shotgun the enemy team when you get to home. That's the best option. What I use them for usually. Now when defending, you got a couple of options. Obviously you can use them on home, bombard home point. There's quite a few different areas you can put them. And then the supply point that I mentioned earlier is you can hit A point and the towers on that side of the map. So it's an option. Overall, this isn't the greatest Falco map, but it's not a terrible one either. Halung Fjord. And I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe I'm not, who knows. But anyways, with the map, there's a few options here. So starting with attack, you can just shoot over the walls or through the gates onto both points. So this is a pretty open map, and you can just fire all over the first 2 points. It's so much fun just watching people panic about it. Now, once you've pushed past that, you can bombard C from the bottom, or you can hold your Falcos until you get to home point. Once you've gotten to home point, there's a few options. You can actually either sit next to C, right above C, and bombard home from there. Not very effective, but it gets the job done. The other options is you can be on the supply point and you can hit the back line of the archers there, where they normally have archers and stuff. It's also trebable, so half the time people aren't putting stuff there. The other option is you can actually set your guys just off of supply point there in that center alleyway and shoot right up to home. That's another decent option, other than moving your falcos close. Now when defending, you can basically just choose a spot in the back area, either close to C or just about as far back as C, and bombard all the points. So, options. And then same with when you get to home point, you can just put them in the back alleyway, close to that supply point, and you can hit everything there. Next up, we have Hidden City. On this map, it's pretty basic for defenders. When defending, you have one option, really stick it in the supply point. You can do the other side, but it's not as effective. And you can shoot over the wall at the tower. Otherwise, the last option is putting your falcos on home point. That's the only other real option when using falcos when defending. Now, when attacking, you can be up on the side walls for Bravo point, and you can fire down on either side of the kill box, wherever they have their kill box. Or when you're at home point, attacking home, you can be on either side, shooting either over the houses or over the wall into home, hitting everything they have in there. Again, it also depends on where they stick their kill box. Next up is Kurok Castle. You have a few options here. So, when attacking, if you're going to use falcos really early, you want to wait until the towers get there. You can either, if you're attacking B, bring them up to a little raised up elevation area there on the far left, and you can set them on top of that and hit both the supply and B point. Or you can go to the same areas on the left or right of A and hit that, and you're able to tear apart their kill boxes. Now once you've pushed home, you want to put your guys right on the stairs, at the top of the stairs above the supply point. And you aim at the top of the staircase, and you can actually get the shots to arc through that back tunnel, basically stopping reinforcements from getting through it very easily. Now when defending, you only want to use falcos on the final point. You can either fire down that tunnel, and you can hit everything on home point, or you can go up on top of the wall on an elevated area, which is actually nearly immune to trebs, as long as you place them correctly, and then use your hero as a bait, and you're able to hit them as they're coming into home from either of those pathways. So, both spots are good in their own right, and if you use both of them, you can usually cause a lot of damage and a lot of chaos. Next up is Linwu Fortress. You have a few options here as well. When defending, the one big option is right in the center of the entire city. It is trebable, so you got to watch out, but you can set your falcos there and move them around a little bit, and you're able to hit basically everywhere. Supply point A, the gate on right side, everywhere. Now, when you reach home point, you can leave your guys on the spawn supply point, and they can just shoot right over the houses onto home. That's what I normally do. It's pretty effective. You can basically hit anything that steps on the home point, so it covers the entire area. It's nice. Now, when attacking, you have the first option. Once you catch supply point, you can leave them on supply and hammer A. Or once you've started pushing home, you can leave them on the wall on the right side and they can shoot home, or you can put them on the supply point and they can shoot home. The supply point's dangerous, I don't necessarily recommend it, but it's an option. Next up is easily my favorite map, Regionopolis. And I'm actually redoing this video mainly because this used to be the only image I could get of Regionopolis. Because of custom maps being released, I was able to get a new map. The actual tactical overhead map of it, the tab map. So, let's have some fun. So here's that map, and first thing I want to go into is my favorite thing to do with Falcos on this map is to bring them into the tunnels when attacking or defending, because they can break any defense line or push with minimal effort. As long as you watch out for axe raiders, you can stop a 15-player push in the tunnels with 3 people. Now, for other normal options, when defending, you can either be above A at the top of that staircase and just below the archway, and your Falcos can shoot into the main tunnel, the main entrance gate, or you can put them up on the wall above that and they can hit the breach on B or the main gate on A. Now, if you get pushed back a little bit, or if you just want to do it, it's not super convenient, but you can run your Falcos all the way to the back near home point, and there's a little tower you can put your guys up on, and they can hit a point from there, or they can hit outside over to that supply point. Not really recommended, but I've used it a couple of times in certain situations. Now, you get pushed back to C, and you can actually leave your guys on the back supply point, and they can fire over the wall into that main entrance for Charlie Point. And then for home, the last option you'd have is basically the same as anybody else would think of, is putting it behind your kill box, and from there, next to the main gate, you can fire over to the side area, the side entrance, or you can hit anything coming in from the main gate. Now, when attacking, there's a few options. You can get them up on the walls once you get the towers up, and you can hit B point, hit any kill box they have down there. Or once you've pushed A and B, you can bring them out, and you can set them on top of a tower above the main gate and break the breach, the archway above C, and it makes the whole area trebable, and you're able to just bombard inside the area after that, killing basically everything in C point, except for stuff that's cushioned against the wall right next to main gate. Now for home point, there's one sneaky spot, and that's the tower. As you're coming in the side entrance, off to your right, instead of going left to home, you go right, and there's a walkway to walk up to the top of a tower, and you get a whole view of the entire home point. You can hit everything in there. Any kill boxes they may have set up next to main gate, on home point itself, behind it, everywhere. It's disgusting. I actually just discovered that spot recently. I hadn't thought about it until we were getting stuck in that side alley, and then I seen it, and I was like, let's try this. And it works wonderfully. So, that's about it for Regionopolis. My favorite, the reason why this is my favorite map is because of the tunnel, though, at the start. I always go down there right at the beginning with Falcos. Every single time, and it never gets old. I love it. Next up is Riverlands Castle. There's a few spots here. It's not the most amazing map for Falcos, but there's some spots. So, when attacking, starting out, you can actually set your Falcos in a few separate spots outside, and you can shoot over or onto the walls. I only marked one spot, mainly because there's like 12 spots out there that you can get good angles on basically everything in there. The only place you can't really shoot is all the way back to B. You can get like halfway there. Next, when you get in past B, you can actually shoot from up on the elevated area onto the supply point when you're trying to take it. That's one thing I've done a few times. Or both of the staircases, when you're pushing up the staircases, you can shoot up both of them. So that's also an option. As for defending, this is where the options open up a bit. It's not so basic. So at the beginning, I like to just leave my falcos just north of A, right at the spawn. And I just put them in a line facing the tower and have them attack the tower right off the get-go. Or you can put them on the other side. You have to go up above to properly hit the tower. So it's dangerous, and I don't recommend it. It's so easy for them to get trebbed or heroes to climb up those ladders and kill them. Not recommended. Or another option, if you want to hit that south tower, is up on top next to home. Just have them shoot off that giant wall. That's also an option. Now, for B point, you can set them on the supply point and have them just shoot all the way over to B. And their max range is B from that supply point. That's their max range. That's how far they can shoot in the game. So, learn a little bit more every day. Now, another thing is on home. My favorite spot is over on the right, on top of that plaza, like elevated veranda area. I'm not sure what to call it. But you can see the spot marked there. You set it there, and you can aim at the top of the stairs, on the left side stairs, the northern stairs, and you shoot all the way down. Your shots will wind up hitting the entire staircase, no matter where they wind up hiding on it, at the bottom, near the top, wherever they're trying to muster. You can hit them. And then you can also aim at the other staircase. You can hit the top of it to stop any rush. Now it is trappable, so you gotta watch out. I believe most of the trebs get caught by a tower, but I think one or two are able to get through, so you want to watch out for that. Now the other spot is you can sit them on the spawn point and fire over the arch. It's not very effective, or you can shoot through the main hallway, down the stairs. I don't like that spot. It's just not very effective. It's protected though, because your guys are invincible, so I guess there's that. Now, the spot that most people use, and pretty much everybody knows about, is setting them up on the wall overlooking home. That is definitely trappable. All the trebs will hit, and your guys will be gone. It's also nothing protecting your falcos. Ranged heroes, units, anything can hit you while you're up there. So, it's not the greatest spot, but it is overlooking home, and I sometimes go there in a last-ditch effort to try and save home point. Because it is, for firepower, very effective. You'll put a massive dent in the enemy if you're even allowed to fire off 2 or 3 volleys. Because you're so close, the shots are very condensed, and if you aim right, you just ruin their day. I've slowed down and even stopped some pushes that were trying to push on home. Next, we have Storehouse. So this one, it's a very short and quick map. Small and quick. There's a couple of areas here. So when defending, you can get them up on the walls for A and B point, or leave them at the spawn point in the back for home point. When attacking, the walls are so small, you can literally put them anywhere outside and just shoot over the walls and just torment the defending team. But if the defending team has falcos or longbow up on top of the walls, they can get your falcos wherever they're shooting from. Because they have the high ground, they get a little bit extended range. I guess I shouldn't call it extended range, it's more of drop-off. Because of the drop-off, the shots are still going forward, so they technically cover more ground. But yeah. Now, once you push in A and B, you wind up having 2 options. Technically 3, but the third one's iffy. It's that supply point in the top right, you can have your falcos pointing in either the side or the back door and shooting in there. The main gate, you can have it there too, but most people have their stuff pushed back further, and it's just not effective. I've found it just completely useless to waste my time putting falcos at that main gate. Now, Sun City, my second favorite map, because of one spot I can put my falcos. So I'm going to start on the defending team. This is the basic one. So you can put them on supply point and shoot Charlie point in the very back. Or you can put them in spawn point and they can shoot home. Now both are very protected. You can't be trebbed and you're invincible in one of them. The other one, you're just in the back of the map and your allies are constantly flooding out of there, so it's near impossible for someone to make it back there to kill your falcos. So, that's nice. Now, for the fun part, I'm going to go over 4 spots, and then the final spot, the one that's my favorite, last. So you'll notice I skip over it a little bit, compared to the rest of the way I've talked about everything else. So, at the start, you can actually bombard A points from the supply point, or you can set it right in the center alleyway. The supply point, I believe, is more off to the right. I don't believe it's right in the center there. I'd have to double check that, but I don't believe the supply point is right in the center like that. But you can set them in the center like that and shoot A point, and you can kill their little kill box they have inside there, or at least most of it. Now, if you get up on the wall, you can sit right in the middle of A and B, and you can hit both points from right in the middle. It's dangerous because the supply point is literally right below you, so the enemy could just run up the stairs and murder all your falcos. I have only used that spot twice, and I was running with an organized team both times, and they were prepared to protect my falcos. And actually, one of those times, I was just bait, because they were hard defending B and we wanted it, so bum bait. I set my falcos down, let them shoot for a little bit, and like clockwork, 4 heroes. We killed them all, broke their defensive line on B, and we managed to push B. Because people hate falcos on the enemy team. They love it when it's on their team. I'm the same way, though. I can't say I'm different from anybody in that regard. Now, next, when you're attacking home point, you can set your falcos either in the right center alleyway or far right corner, and you're able to just bombard home, or you can hit supply. The final point, and my favorite, is just north of B point. There's a little spiked wall. You can set your falcos down, lined up with it, and then you can aim to the back of those houses that most people keep their kill box, because it's a non-trebbable area, and you can hit that whole thing. Everything. Their kill box, gone. They lose their only advantage as the defending team. This pisses people off very quickly. I almost never, I've done it a few times solo, but I almost never try this spot when I'm by myself. I'll always have at least one person with palace guards or stalwarts or something sitting at the top of the stairs waiting. So if somebody tries to come after me, they got to get through them first. I've seen 3, 4, 5 heroes come with their units to try and kill me, because that's how valuable of a spot it is. You can literally get the win for your team by yourself doing that. You do that, it causes 2 things. It causes the enemy team to want to come up and get you. Even if it's 1 hero, that's 1 less hero. Usually, though, they'll see someone defending and they'll call for their teammates, and you'll get 4 or 5 people. A third of their team usually comes up there to kill you. In that meantime, you're sitting there spamming chat, push, 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 go, 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 and your enemy team just mows through home point and kills everything. It's wonderful. It causes chaos. When you start hitting their kill box, you see people scatter like ants. It's wonderful. Yeah, for me, it's less about the kills and more about the chaos in that regard. But yeah, that's why it's my second favorite spot in the game. Now, for terrorize, I've actually never played on this map. I only got these images because of the custom games released. I honestly forgot this was even a map of its own. I thought terrorize was going to be like Conqueror City or something. So I spent probably an hour in this map just looking around for spots that would wind up working, and I did test them since I had all the time in the world. And what I came up with was this map sucks for falcos. Yeah, I assume you were probably hoping for like some magical game-winning spots. No, this map is designed for cavalry and infantry fights. Falcos and ranged are just ass. I wouldn't even recommend archers on this map. Like, if you're gonna have ranged, have like Pavis, Demence Arbalest, or the Flaming Boys, Sifanori. Otherwise, I would just infantry, cav. You can tear through everything on this map. But for Falco spots, you can sit on the supply points for defending team and fire over the walls of the towers, or you can get up on the wall as the attacking team, fire into A point, or you can fire into A point from outside. So, options, just not the greatest Falco map, unfortunately. And this, I did call it DOS Bulwark in my last video. I changed it to the official game name that they have, which is TW City. That's literally what they call it. And there is a breach on the left side in between those two ladder spots. So I don't know why it doesn't show it here, but unfortunately I wasn't able to find the custom games map of this. And maybe I just missed the name or something. Maybe it does have a real name, but I wasn't able to find it. I checked like 20 maps. It was a huge waste of bronze trying to find this. So this is what I got. Sorry. But here are the spots I would recommend. So when attacking, you have a few options. First, when you're just starting out, break the breach and you can shoot inside the breach. You can angle your guys however you want. It's fairly effective, not the greatest, but it works. Now, when it gets really effective is when you get a tower to the wall, get your falcos up on the wall after you've broken the breach on left side, you can hit both kill boxes from that side. Or if you need to get to the other side of X, you can go clear over to the right side. Now mind you, there is a staircase clear in the back of their base that they can go up without your team knowing. So you got to be careful of that. If you see someone running over there, immediately retreat to your team that should be holding that center staircase at the top. But you can use that to destroy the kill box as your team pushes down. And my recommendation is once your team is down and pushing and actually getting the enemy out of there, that's when you want to bring your falcos down and get them out of there. Because I guarantee you 100% chance that somebody is in the process of running up that staircase in the back to kill your falcos. And they will succeed. There's no hero in the game that can stop another hero from killing off their falcos if they're on their horse. Shortbow can get you off your horse, so can musket, but they can't kill you fast enough to stop you from killing falcos. It takes 4 seconds to wipe out a falco squad with any of the big hitters. Poleaxe, Maul, Dual Blade. You know, those guys, 4 seconds. Whole falco squad gone. Yeah, I can spin once. Goodbye, falcos. You might be able to keep me on the ground for a while as musket, but your cooldowns are going to happen eventually. And then as Maul or Poleaxe, if I stay on my horse, you can't do anything. Both classes are too slow to get you off your horse. So, just a side tip, I guess. When you want to take out falcos, pay attention to the class you're going against. If it's Poleaxe or Maul, keep circling the falcos. They ain't going to catch you. Unless they get on their horse, yeah, it's not happening. And plus, by the time they get on their horse, it's already too late. They lose their advantage. So, yeah, it's unfortunately near impossible, other than running away, to stop someone entirely from killing the falcos, unless they're off their horse. Yeah. So, aside from that, when attacking, once you've pushed X and you've pushed the enemy team back to home, you can set falcos up on the far tab left wall, and you can shoot into the right side kill box. You can hit both sides of that right side gate and get rid of their kill box. So, very effective, and I recommend it. Because once you start bombarding, what you want to do is have a short sword come in, dive the kill box as your team is running in there. So between the dive dispersing the whole kill box, the falcos constantly hitting them and taking out units, and your team running in, it's just an easy push. Yeah, 15v15, or I guess in your case, because you're 1, it would be 14 versus 15 in that push. You would come out victorious every time, unless they have sifs. In which case, hopefully the falcos have pinged some of those sifs. But yeah, there's that little tidbit. Now when defending, you have some options. My favorite spot when defending is to sit on that back wall, and you can hit both X and outside of the breach. And you heard me correctly, outside of the breach. If you aim on the breach itself, your guys will actually hit outside. So whatever they have mustering out there, it's normally on the other side of the little lump of the breach, and people don't think you can get them because most units can't. Falcos can. It's wonderful seeing it. And you see them just panic for a minute, them all scatter in every direction. Now, the other two options are the basic ones that everybody knows. Set them in the back of X, facing the front gate. You can shoot right into the gate or up on the wall from there. The other option is facing the breach and shooting in. Now, when you get to home, you can put them behind the kill boxes, or what I like to do is set it right in the center. One Falco unit in the center next to home point, like almost on the point itself. You can fire at both entrances, so nothing can get in that base without getting Falco shots in the face. So, also, it's very difficult to get the aim on it when you're the Falco unit attacking on the far left wall. So unless they kind of angle it properly, they won't be able to catch your Falcos either. And you can actually stick them right next to the wall. And yeah, it limits your view a little bit, but it protects you from that as well if you wanted to. So there's that, and it's got a stupid name, TW City, but I wish it had an actual name. Would have been easier to find. But here's this. Let's move on to the next one. Valley Fortress. So this map is interesting in a few ways. When defending, you save your Falcos for Charlie Point. If you get pushed past A and B, save them for C, and you can set them on that supply spawn point and just hammer C, or hit the staircase. That's just south of it. If you get pushed back to home, you can set them facing the side gate. That would normally lead to spawn, or in the back of home. Now, pretty much everybody knows about the back home. They do it all the time. And the gate one's very dangerous. Most people won't do that because it's so easy for one hero to run past a kill box and wipe out your Falcos before you know what's even happening. So, unfortunately, not the greatest. The only good defender spot here is on spawn when shooting C. So, now, when you're attacking and you're going after A, you can actually shoot up onto the walls at A from that supply point. And I do it all the time. It's devastating. You can absolutely tear apart a kill box very quickly because the range isn't very high and there's not much scatter. So relying on your aim, you can cause a massive amount of damage. I usually get up on the wall once I have my falcos placed and get a proper aim. Now, once you either push A and you're getting ready to push B, or if you just want to push B, you can set your guys up on the wall at the top of B. It's dangerous because there's a staircase, but you can actually shoot B point from there if your team is already pushing it. Or, once you've gotten into A on the right side, getting ready to push C, you can get on the wall there, up the staircase, and you can shoot into C that way. Or when attacking home, I recommend the spot just outside of the main gate there, just next to the supply point. You can shoot all the way into home from there. Now for wall fort. There's a few options. There's one really nasty spot for attacking team. Now defenders, when you're going to destroy the bridge, which if you bring falcos at the start as defenders, you are going to this spot. If you don't go to this spot, you are hampering your team. Congratulations, you deserve to be reported. At this spot, you want to set them on the staircase, like halfway up the staircase, and then get up on the wall and aim at the side closest to you of the bridge, and your guys will shoot from that staircase over. You can't be trebbed. It's near impossible for them to get to you before the bridge is destroyed, and you can usually destroy the bridge within a minute and a half. It's pretty nice. The other option when defending, once you've destroyed the bridge, you go over to the supply point, and they can hit both A point and that little side area where the tower lands. So, it's nice. And then also you have the supply point that everybody shoots from, and the spawn point in the back. Everybody knows about those spots though. They're used pretty frequently. So, there you go. Now when attacking, some people don't know that you can sit at the supply point below B and you can shoot with falcos up onto the wall and hit everything up there. So you can actually either help your team or harass the enemy team that's left after the bridge falls. Either way, it's fun. And then once you get up on the wall and you've capped A, you can actually shoot onto the supply point, or you can shoot C point. Now, the most devastating spot that I mentioned earlier for the attacking team is the staircase that would lead from C up to B, Charlie up to Bravo point. You can actually get sort of halfway up that staircase and then aim at the top of the wall at the defending team's supply point that's off to the side there, and you can hit the whole supply point. Now for White Elk Fort, this one is another one of those fairly basic maps. There's some nice spots in here though for the attacking and defending team. So when attacking A point, you want to get up on the wall and fire down onto their kill boxes. It's the best spot. It's nice. Well, second to best spot in the map. Now, once you've pushed A, you get inside and you're getting ready to push home. Once your team has pressure, you can put your guys up on the wall on the far right side, and you can fire all the way past home onto their kill box that they normally have sitting with a bunch of archers and stuff behind that house. Oh yeah, more chaos, just like Sun City. It's nice. And it's hard to get up to you as well, because your team is normally flooding in from the left and right side, usually center and right. So your team has you protected normally. You can use this with no protection and usually be fine. Now, sometimes you'll get people that will just run past your whole team, or they'll sneak around the back and get you. But at that point, usually they're losing, and you're capping home anyways, so I usually just jump off the wall at that point, go help cap home, or pull out new troops as they're killing my falcos, and then go cap home. You can have falcos, I'll take the win. Good trade. Now, when defending, with home point, or with a point, you can just fire down the alleyway. Unfortunately, the walls are pretty high, and there's no great spots at the very beginning, except for over on the right side. You can actually set them inside that fenced area. Makes it somewhat difficult to get to, but you can fire into the breach once it breaks open. Stop anybody from getting through there without taking damage. Another option is, once you get to home, you can sit either in that kill box with everybody, or you can be in that back, like, courtyard area and fire over that small staircase or steps onto and over home. So, options. Alright guys, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is all I got for you today. I have made quite a few other guides so far, and I plan on making more. And I do plan on going over all the maps in the game eventually, so I got stuff in the pipeline. Feel free to check it out, and have a good one.